Today we're going to talk about technology, hardware. So technology is the math and science that makes our life easier. Hardware are pieces of equipment that help us use technology. They're usually hard things, you can feel them, you can touch them. Software is things that work inside hardware, programs like reading counts, Chrome. So your Chromebook would be hardware and the Chrome operating system would be software. So there's all kinds of different pieces of hardware and software. Today we're going to talk about hardware. So the first one you mostly know is a computer. So the computer is the keyboard, mouse, and monitor and microprocessor all working together. So in order to have a computer, you have to have a screen, something to type on, usually a mouse or something to click on, and the microprocessor, the brain, all working together makes a computer. The monitor is the screen part of the computer, where the picture is. On a laptop, your monitor would be right there on the screen, just the screen part of the laptop. Sometimes it stands alone, sometimes it's part of the device. The keyboard is the place where you type and press buttons. The mouse moves the arrow on the screen and you can click with it. So if you steer the arrow on your Chromebooks, you sometimes can just glide on your touchpad. That would be your mouse. The mouse pad helps the mouse move smoothly. If you tried to use your mouse without your mouse pad, you'll notice it's pretty rough, it's bumpy. The mouse doesn't move as well on your screen. Printer. That's where the paper comes out after you tell your computer to print. So we have a printer in the library. It's in the front of the computer lab by the door. Projector. The projector hangs from the ceiling and it shows the teacher's computer on the screen. So we have a projector in the library. It's aiming toward the screen. It's connected to one of the back computers in our library. You also have those in your classroom. A document camera. Now we do not have one of these in the library, but you most likely have one in your classroom. It's a camera that shows the documents underneath it. So it shows what's underneath the camera onto the screen with the help of the projector. If you can have a document camera, if you don't have a projector, the only place you would maybe see it would be on the screen of your computer. All right, the microprocessor. The microprocessor is the brain of the computer. It's the green insides of the computer where all the work takes place. So over here I have a broken computer. It's one of those green iMacs, and something was broken in it, so we took it apart. And you can see all of this green stuff is the microprocessor. Sometimes they call it the motherboard. It's the brain of the computer. Right here, this is a memory chip. These just can go right into the computer to give your computer more space to think. All right, this is the chip, the brain cell. It's the very small parts of the microprocessor. It's the brain cells, the thinking components on your computer. So if we go back to the screen, this microprocessor, you can see these black squares. These are all chips that help the computer to think. All right, the hard drive. Inside the computer, it's where you save information inside the computer. Here's our hard drive that we took out of this computer. If I open it up, you can look at it. It looks kind of like a record player or a CD player if you've seen one of those. This part spins around and it writes the information on that disc. This is like a little needle, but it's not a needle, it just is a light that reads the information from the hard drive. Things that are on the hard drive on the Mac on your in front of you are programs like Pages, Chrome, Safari. All of those programs are on the hard drive of the computer. If you saved your stuff, we used to have the option to save on the hard drive of the computer or save in the cloud. Now we save in the cloud, but there is usually the capability to save it locally on the hard drive. It's inside the computer. The hard drive has its own little microprocessor on the back. The CD-ROM or DVD. It's a round disk used to store information outside of your computer. So you've probably all seen DVDs that have movies on them. You can also use them to save information. If your computer has a CD drive, you can put it inside your computer and save that information. A USB drive or flash drive. You plug the USB port into your computer and you save documents outside of your computer. So I have some of these. Here's a little USB drive. This one's 1 gigabyte. What you would do is you plug it in the side or the back of your computer. If you look, it has a rectangle end. Half of the rectangle is filled in. On your keyboard, you can see that there's places to plug USB devices in to your keyboard, also on the back of your computer. They come in all shapes and colors and sizes. Here's a little one. And this one is a fancy heart. You can open it up and you can save stuff on it. They come in all shapes and sizes, and they hold different amounts of memory depending on which one you purchased. You can buy those anywhere, Walmart, Best Buy, any place that sells any kind of technology stuff. So there's some different sizes for your computer. So, well, here, let's go to when some of the first computers, to save information outside the computer, we would put in a floppy disk. So this is your floppy disk. It was floppy, it's flexible, you can kind of bend it, and you would put that in the computer, shut the door, and then it would spin around and it would write information there on the center. Well, anytime you got dirt or dust or anything on that, a fingerprint, it would quit working, and plus they weren't very durable. So they came up with these floppy disks. They were smaller. They were made of hard plastic, so they're not as flexible. When you would put it in the computer and shut the door, this would slide over. You could slide that over, and then it would write the information on that disk. So I took one apart. You can see that there is a disk inside there that it writes the information on those disks. Well, these hold 1.44 megabytes. So the floppy disk held like 56 kilobytes. So 1 megabyte holds 1,000 kilobytes. So we could get probably 2,000 of these onto one of these. Then we started moving to gigabytes. Oh, so this little USB holds 56 megabytes. Then we started moving to gigabytes, and a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes. So a DVD holds 4.7 gigabytes. So our DVD would hold about 4,000 of these little discs. Here, this USB is 1 gigabyte, so you would take like 5 of these to equal 1 DVD. Then I have portable hard drive, so I take this. It's like that hard drive. I just bought this at Best Buy or someplace, or actually Amazon. You plug this into your computer and you can back up all your files. So I had all my pictures and movies on something like this because I wanted to save those. This is 500 gigabytes. Well, I started having so much stuff, I went ahead and bought one that was 2 terabytes. So a terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. So this is half of a gigabyte, and now I have one that's 2 terabytes, so it's a lot bigger. It's crazy how much stuff. They're the same size device, but they just can hold more information. As we get more and more technology, they figure out how to make it smaller and smaller. All right, the wireless hub. This is how laptops get their wireless signal on the ceilings in the hallway. So if you look up in the ceiling, there's a round disc, little red lights on it. That's how we get internet on your Chromebooks. Now the computers in the library, they're plugged in with those yellow cables. Those yellow cables run to a server that runs to the high school, then runs to Sioux City. But right now, if you want to use anything without a cable, you have to use the wireless hubs. All right, the last one, the hardest one to understand, is the internet. We use the internet all the time. The internet is nothing you can really see, but there are connections between computers all over the world where information travels. So it's a connection of computers that are all over the world. The computers talk to each other, they talk to satellites that are orbiting the Earth, and that's how we get all the information that you get on Chrome or Safari through the internet.